Hi, I'm Cari Antrim, founder of Multifamily Women, and I am joined here today with Dr. Cari Skrdla. We have some exciting news. Dr. Skrdla is now our Vice President of Strategic Partnerships with Multifamily Women, and so we're so excited to have her join the team. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. You know, I love everything about multifamily leadership, specifically multifamily women, and to now be officially a part of the team is just the thrill.
You've been a part of the family for a while now. So Dr.
Yes.
Cari started as I think the very first time I interviewed you on stage.
Yes.
And then I was like, give this lady the stage. So since then, you've had keynotes and you've done all the, but you've been an attendee, you've been a speaker, you've experienced the whole thing for quite a few years.
Yeah, and I'm not just saying this is my favorite annual event.
Mine too.
Right? I'm glad to hear that. That's good news, Cari. But it is because of just the environment and the women and so many that I've connected with. And I have to give you a shout out for creating such an amazing space that you have an opportunity to walk into and immediately just feel connected.
Yeah.
With everyone in there. You know, it's not one of those women events where I'm questioning if I have on the right shoes and, you know, all of that. And it's like a big old hug fest of executive women coming together just to relax and release. And yeah, we got some information for you, but it's not going to add to the pressures that you came there to alleviate yourself from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think myself, I'm not naturally an extrovert. And so going to a conference or any kind of big event where I don't know anyone, or I only know the one person and my best friend is an extrovert, I know the minute I walk in the door, she's across the room and I'm like in the corner, that I wanted to avoid that at all costs. And I think that we've done a good job over the past 6 years of creating experiences where you're just automatically becoming best friends because of everything that's going around and going on around you. And I know that I always see as soon as you get off the stage, you're swarmed with women. And I know that you've made some amazing connections throughout the years. It's been great to watch. And like you said, every year that we go back, it's almost like a family reunion.
It really is.
And even for the new people who have never attended before, they come in and they're like, whoa, everybody's actually like really nice. Nobody's judging my shoes or, you know, or my dress or where I'm from.
You're immediately a part of what you've created and what we continue to expand. Like you said, the family. Right?
I'm excited for this year because I think our theme is clarity. I don't know about you, but the first half of 2025 has been a ride for me personally. We've had deaths in the family, we've had struggles, all of these challenges, and it seemed like they all happened in the last 6 months. And I think I'm not alone. I would imagine I'm not alone in saying that. And so for me, getting clear on exactly what we want to accomplish this year at the summit and what we're going to talk about and all of the topics and all of the people who are going to be there has been really helpful for me in not feeling that overwhelm. You mentioned, I heard you talking with Patrick last week and you said the words cognitive overload. Overload. And I was like, ding, 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 immediately. Wait, I have that. Let's talk more about that.
Yes, I'd love to because, you know, looking at when I've, well, let me just start with what I do as a neuroscientist, right? So it really falls in the category of social science, right? Cognitive behavior. And I get I have the honor and the privilege to observe humanity, right? And be a part of research teams. And post-pandemic, I was on a research team where we were looking at how prior to it, we kind of concluded that human beings are not present, at that point, before the pandemic, not present consciously around 86% of the time.
Wow.
Right. Now it's up to 94%.
So when you say not present, what does that mean? We're just going through the motions?
We're just our subconscious, exactly. It's going through the motions. It's running programs for you, right? And you know, at events, I've had people really understand, how programs work, because I'll say something like, here's a story of a lovely lady, right? See, it went there. Now, I'm older than you, Cari, so I remember that show when it aired in real time. But then here you are, you're watching that jingle. So many people have that, and the entire narrative that the jingle and everything brought with it.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you look at what happened during the pandemic with so much online, right? And there you are, and we became conditioned. Programs began to take hold of running daily operations of the individual, the human being.
Right.
Oh, I have to be on a Zoom call, and it's all a click. And we don't relate that or connect that to the exact same behavior that is storing and recalling a jingle or a commercial. Exactly, right? And it's the same thing. Another good way I've illustrated this, in my personal favorite, is to talk about the first time you drove a car. You're learning to drive a car. We all kind of get the same instructions. You know, it's start it, foot on the brake, put it in gear, give it a little gas, and you can hear your own heart just pounding.
Yes, I remember that very well.
Right? Now, I drove here. My drive this morning was an hour and 15 minutes, and I'm listening to just some audio recordings. I don't remember coming here because my subconscious drove the car.
Yep.
What's happening to us, those of us in the workforce, those of us that have the really big lives, like a lot of the women, our family that show up, they've got children, grandchildren, husbands, all of this responsibility. And the overload is coming from the subconscious, literally saying, you don't have any RAM left. You don't have any memory left. You don't have anywhere for me to store this.
Wow.
And so now what we're seeing is there are important things that people are forgetting, and they think it's them.
Yes.
Okay.
I do. I think it's me.
Right.
Sometimes I think I'm losing my mind.
Exactly. That's what it feels like. Well, if you think about your computer, you know what, it starts to run slow when we have too much on it, right? Or it may crash.
Right.
The exact same thing is happening to us, the human being, right between our two ears, right?
When you put your car keys in the refrigerator or things like that.
Or forget your own birthday. Yeah. I did that. Maybe I wanted to. It was my 60th. I don't know.
I mean, I think you get to a certain point where you're like, I don't know, I could be this age, I could be this age.
Exactly.
Who cares?
I've seen people say that. I'm like, you know, how old are you? And they're like, let me think. Or how long have you been married?
Yeah.
Those used to be things that were immediately present for people. And now, again, you know, you've got a lot of people conducting business online. The way the light and everything is going into the human mind is actually causing us more and more to deal with anxiety from overload, cognitive overload. I cannot have one more piece of information coming in.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's funny that you said that. I saw there's this woman who does a series of TikToks or funny videos, and her whole thing is, how long will this task actually take me?
Right.
And when you talk about like anxiety, because we have the list just gets longer and longer.
Yes.
Sometimes when I sit down and I actually just do the darn thing, it didn't take me that long.
No.
It wasn't the giant overwhelm that I made in my mind.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
And it's done. And now I
Right.
feel so much better. But that buildup, I think, is a huge part of the overwhelm and
It
the
is.
anxiety.
And the subconscious is life sustaining. So it's like, no.
Right.
No more. You're going to die.
Right.
It's really under the impression that it's saving your life.
Yeah.
And what I love so much about our annual event is the space that people get to enter and just relax.
Yes.
You know, and to let all of that go, because your brain will actually start to filter things out for you. It will. And I've connected this to, I don't want to go too deep into it, but I've connected it into decisions that people make to distance themselves from old friends or family members, even some entering into divorce, because the challenges and issues that they need to face are taking up so much space, right? They're like, no, I need to focus on my career, not realizing the subconscious made that decision for you.
Oh, wow.
Because that's life sustaining,
Interesting.
To keep your career, to
Right.
keep the money. It's in that category as to what's going to keep you alive. Therefore, the spouse is optional. And this is why it's so important to have events like ours, because it's a conscious space.
Right.
Everything is disrupted the moment I walk into that space. I love the concerns at home about my grandchildren and their table manners.
I hope you're not thinking about their table manners at the summit.
No, when I
Because
come
why?
in there, it's just instantly I'm present here in this space.
Yep.
Last year's event, you mentioned death in the family. I walked in, and this was 2 weeks after we had buried my brother, and my mother relocated out here. She's 95. I was greeted by so many women with so much love. They were like, Dr. Cari, are you okay? And I wasn't even aware that they were aware of it.
Right.
Right? I came to serve and got served. That's amazing.
Yeah, I love that. And that is such a good point, because a lot of times we're taking care of everyone and everything.
Yes.
The women who are at the summit, they're managing up and managing down. You know, they've got their on-site teams, they've got their owners, investors. So who's taking care of them?
Exactly.
And we're being so intentional this year about everything that happens, all of our speakers. It's about who's taking care of you, and are you taking care of yourself?
Right, right.
Because, like I said, I don't think I'm the only one who's had a tough year. That's been weird.
No.
I mean, just in general.
It's been weird. It has,
So this is our time to
And can you believe that we're already halfway through the year?
No, I cannot.
I'm like, was there a time jump?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I got
interesting.
I got an email from our venue, and it was like 90 days until your summit, and I was like, "Excuse me?
Right.
I'm sorry, what?
That's right around.
It's only February right now.
Yeah,
What are you
exactly.
talking about?"
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I am excited. Like I mentioned, we have all of our speakers are aligned on the same page. You're heading up our strategic partnerships. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about what that means and what you're doing.
So every year, and even though I'm new to the role, like you said, I've been a part of the family, just an honored member, really. And so it's a very attractive event for all of the things we've already discussed.
Right.
So what I'm doing is connecting with people who really want to participate as partners. That's how we view sponsorship here at Multifamily. Is you're a partner. And what I love so much about our engagement strategy is, yes, it's providing solutions to our members, to our attendees, but it's also highlighting what the sponsor is bringing to the table, and not just at that event.
Right.
Right? They have an opportunity to participate in the podcast. And there is this year-long engagement with everything that we're doing, where they're invited to the table as partners, as family members, and they can be showcased through our platforms. And I love that. Yeah, that's a great opportunity.
It is, and we have a lot of returning sponsors who see that value and understand it, and they've made like you said, when you walk in the door and people are hugging, like they're making the same connections.
Exactly.
Which is harder to do, I think, at some other events and things like that, because it's not so close. You don't get to have that connection with one another.
Well, and in that type of environment, and you've already mentioned how many connections I've made. I won't mention any names, but I've spoken with individuals that, in an environment like that, partnerships can come up, or other business opportunities. And it's not about networking and your best elevator.
The elevator pitch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
None of that. Or your unique value proposition. And all of the things that we've learned from what I've started to call the force field of business. Right? I think the last time I was on stage, I talked about that. This whole world where, there's competition and let me get my card over there. I have to meet that person. No, it's just an environment where you're in the ladies' room, for example, and all of a sudden the perfect contact is the one in there handing you a paper towel to dry your hands with, right? And so that is, to me, a new world that whether you intended to open that up, you did. And that's the kind of world that I want to live in, where people are really collaborating, where people are celebrating each other. Like, I love the awards ceremony and all of that. And people are really celebrating each other and not taking each other out.
Yes.
And if I dare say this, not to offend anyone, but to accomplish that with a group of women, right? When historically, I did the research on it, historically, women have been pitted against each other to compete for jobs, spouses, or that really great dress in your size at Nordstrom's that's marked down finally, right?
Yes.
You know, just go over there and push her out the way.
Right.
You know, I'm joking. But there's something to that that I don't see at all. And if you are someone that's interested in sponsorship, know that you are contributing to that in a very beautiful way by bringing your offering into that environment, right? Into an environment like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also, that leads perfectly into our new, what we've just launched with My Stage, My Story. So I don't know, this is new and I've been trying to put it out there. Our team's been on social media and having me film videos and do all these crazy things, but I can't even, I'm honestly at a loss for words at the response that we've gotten. So we had this idea, like, every summit, there's these conversations. You're probably in quite a few of them that are happening off stage after someone's done speaking. You know, while we're eating lunch or dinner, having cocktails. There's all these, and people. Did you hear what Joanne? Did you hear what she's been through, or how she got here? Did you hear about Lisa? What, you know? And I'm like, no, I didn't hear. I was on stage, right? So we realized all of these amazing women have all of these amazing stories about how multifamily has changed their lives in some way. And we thought, well, how do we get more? Because our whole platform from the very beginning is finding the leaders where they're at and shining the light on them, because they're busy.
Yes.
They're working. They might not be submitting, oh, I'd like to speak, right? That's not even on their radar.
Right.
But I want them to know, like, we see you.
Yes.
We see what you're doing. We know you have a story, and we're going to make you get on stage, whether you want to or not. Kidding.
It's your, but it's your time. It's your moment. Right.
And there's so many, and there's just, you know, so many and not enough time. But so with this new launch, we're allowing women to tell their story. They get 5 minutes because there's so many. Like, I know that 5 minutes is not enough, but
that's
I think,
a lot of time, actually.
well, when you're solo on stage and these lights are in your,
Exactly. Yeah.
That is true. And the response that we've gotten so far is, I did not expect to just be sobbing at my desk every day when I get a new submission, but that's where we're at right now, in a good way, because these women have overcome such unbelievable challenges, obstacles, hardships, and now they're thriving. And all they want to do, they're not professional speakers.
Right.
All they want to do is tell their story in case it helps somebody else.
Exactly.
They want to provide value.
Yep.
They're not taking, they're giving. Like, and it's like gives me chills. It's
I know.
so
I'm over here. I'm getting.
I'll show you some of the submissions.
Getting moved.
I mean,
I'd love to see
It's
that.
unbelievable. I cannot wait for this. I'm very excited.
That's part of, like, you're really creating, opening up. I say it this way. I've told people Carrie Antrim is giving birth to a new world. Like, seriously.
Okay, I'll take that.
It's a new way.
Yeah.
The old ways have really expired.
Yes, I agree.
And what I tell people about all of our events, really, but Multifamily Women, just staying with that, is if you come there, you're not coming to get another template or a funnel recipe or, or any of those things, right? No, you're coming to be liberated from all of that. And you're going to get some really cool information to take back to your office.
Absolutely,
right?
of course.
Yes.
From the women who are doing it every day.
Exactly.
And it might be info that's not out there. They're like, hey, this worked for me. This did not.
Yes.
You know, and just opening minds both personally and professionally.
Yes.
You know, we're all about women rising in every way.
You know, you even at the event, when you walk into the ladies' room, people are in there just sharing and you go in the ladies' room at one of our events and you can't get out.
Yeah.
You can't. There's like fellowship going on. So I don't know if it was you that said we have to make sure that we've got the monitor in the ladies' room on. Because I've been in there before and I'm like talking and just fellowshipping and hugging. And then I'm like, I think I'm next.
Right?
I have to go, you know, and we're like laughing.
That's when I'm on stage and I'm like, 1, 2, 3, all eyes on me, because I can't get everyone to just
come
I'm like,
back.
okay, next year, longer breaks in between. I get
Right.
it. I hear you. I
Right.
see you. Yes.
Also, I love the music and the energy. We've got high energy. We've got dancing, vocals.
Yep.
Right. All of the things that really appeal to the female brain. And when you look at the difference between our brains, you know, men, they have big brains and ours are smaller, but we access both hemispheres effectively. And when we are too far in the left hemisphere, where all of the logic and the analytical
I think
aspects.
that's where I live.
Well, I'm that way as well. And I just remember it was my therapist that told me, you need to just start sketching.
Oh.
And he just had me drawing circles. And I was drawing circles. And then one day I sketched a tree that I remembered from my childhood. And my daughter looked at it and she said, how long have you been able to do that? And I was like, since I was a kid. And she said, when did you stop sketching? I said, when my mother told me it was time to get serious.
Well, yeah, you have to get a job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Education job.
But art and science, they're really tied together. And every time I'm at our event and I see women, that's what I want to do, is get them fully into that shift of the right hemisphere. And I've worked and labored so hard at other events to do that and still couldn't get there.
Yeah.
These ladies come in pop locking, dancing, right?
Yeah.
And even though everyone has a title, you know, VP and above, they're right there in the thick of it, just letting go of all of that and the whole world that goes with it.
I think it's such a pattern reset because you don't expect that from a corporate conference, right? We're not a
Yes.
conference, we're a summit.
The summit.
And that's something I learned from Patrick 10 years ago, was music is that immediate
Yes.
trigger. And if it's good music, it's
Yes.
a great trigger
Yes.
for just letting go. And I mean, we joke all the time, if you go to a concert and you see your favorite band and they only play their brand new music that you
Right.
haven't had a chance to
Right.
learn yet, you're
That
like,
never works.
this is great. But if they
Yeah.
play the hits,
Right.
it's a great concert.
Because it's triggering just that nostalgia and, you know, the camaraderie.
Yeah.
And you're singing loud and you're
Yep.
looking at somebody over here.
Exactly.
Music definitely is a great thing
Yeah.
to bring everybody together. It is.
That's been a big part of
Yeah.
our whole culture is
Yeah.
music. And
Yeah.
it's not a requirement to dance, okay? But
it's
I
so
think
much
you
fun.
probably
You'll
will.
want to, exactly, or at least move your shoulders or something.
Yeah, you'll be singing along in your head for
right.
sure.
Yeah.
So, well, I guess if you're on the fence about attending or sponsoring or applying for My Stage, My Story, let this be your sign to just do it,
Yeah.
right? I mean, just do
Well,
it.
and then really, you know, I have to, I mean, that's what I do. Like I challenge humanity. Why are you on the fence? Look at what your hesitation might be. Is your hesitation because you're concerned about how you speak or something about your appearance or no one wants to hear this? Do I share this? Am I going to be embarrassed? That's the human brain. That's just going to give you more cognitive overload.
We had all those thoughts half an
right?
hour ago before we sat down,
We really
probably.
did. We did. I was like, I need this table. Like, so my
So
gut
you're not
doesn't
alone is
show,
all we're
right?
saying,
Yeah,
right?
it's real. But in that environment, it just kind of disappears.
It does.
And so just throw your hat over the wall, put yourself in, step out. You won't regret being a sponsor with us, not even a little bit. And I'm putting my credentials on that. I am. And also attending the event, do both. But if you have a compelling story and it was your moment in time and you were more than you thought you could be, you owe it to yourself to contribute that to humanity, and we would really appreciate it. Yeah, get your 5 minutes, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have anything to follow that up. That was beautiful, what you just said.
you.
Thanks
Thank
for sharing
you.
the time today.
Thank you so much. I'm really thrilled about being here. Ever since I first saw this woman, I was like, I want to be her friend. Right? Remember when kids used to go, new family moved in down the street. Let's go make friends, right?
Yep.
So I'm really glad to be here.
Wow.
I'm really glad we're friends. Thank you, Cari.
Me too. We're happy to have you.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks for listening. Go to multifamilywomen.com and get your ticket today.